Hi everyone, welcome to Child Development. I'm going to be showing you how to create a lesson for Circle Time, which is a segment in preschool that you will be teaching. This is going to be primarily for Child Development 1 students. My Child Development 2 and 3 students are very familiar with this already. But I feel like this would be a good way for my Child Development 1 students to be able to see how to create a PowerPoint that targets the learning areas that we want our preschool students to learn. So the way this works is each week we focus on a letter and a number, and we also focus on a different theme. So at the beginning of the year, we will start with letter A and number 1, and then at the end of the year, the last day of school, we finish with the letter Z and the number 26. So I also had mentioned that there is a theme for each week. So how that works is in your groups, you will focus on one theme out of that larger theme. So for example, my theme is Valentine's Day for the week, but I am going to focus on hearts. So my focus theme is going to be hearts. You could have done Cupid, you could have done love. There's tons of different focus themes that you could have picked, but hearts is what we're going to be focusing on today. And we do this so that other groups don't take the same theme and we're not teaching the same theme throughout the week, if that makes sense. So I'm going to get started and show you kind of how we go about this. So we start off with letter and number, like I had mentioned. I'm going to go ahead and start with the letter P and the number 16. So what you'll do is you'll have an uppercase P and a lowercase p. You want to have that on the board or on your PowerPoint so that kids can identify between the two. You're also going to teach them how to sound the letter out and what noise it makes or how it sounds when you speak it. And then you're going to write a bunch of different words down on your PowerPoint slide, typically that match the theme. So as you can see, pink, Cupid, heart, happy, those are Valentine's Day themes. And you're going to highlight the uppercase P's and the lowercase P's in these words. And we want to do that so that kids can learn to recognize the difference between the two. Also, if you have preschoolers that have the same letter that you are focusing on for the week in their name, it's always a good idea to put their name down as well. So Piper and Harper are two preschoolers that we have that have the letter P in their name. So we'll start with the first word, and we'll go over that with the preschoolers. I typically would say, this is the word pink. Can you guys say pink? Can you hear the P sound in the word pink? And then I'd have them repeat that after me. I'd also ask them, can someone raise a quiet hand and tell me, is this a big P or is it a little p? And then you'll call on somebody that's raising a quiet hand, which we'll talk about a little bit later on what that looks like. And you'll do that for all of these. Notice how I don't have a P in the word heart. It's good to put a couple words down there if you can that don't have P's in it so you can recognize words that do have it and then words that don't. And then also, it's a good idea to get them to trace the letters. So typically, you'll be at the whiteboard and you'll tell them to get their magic fingers out or their magic pens out, which is actually their pointer finger, and you're going to trace the letter P, and they're going to trace it on their carpet square or in the air, just to get them in the motion of what drawing a P feels like. And you'll just do this down and around with them, and then you're going to say, and then we're going to move on to the little P, and we're going to go down, and we're going to come back up and go around. And then you're going to talk about the number of the week, which is 16 in this case. Typically, it's a good idea to have an extra slide in this case, since our theme is hearts, I probably would have had 16 hearts, and then I could count each heart with the kid. I did not do that for this demonstration today, but you're more than welcome to use the number line that's in the classroom. And then after you go over letter and number, you're going to start talking about your theme. This is where your learning lesson comes into play. So as you can see, this student that made this PowerPoint slide focused on the shape of a heart in this slide. And they put down symbol of a heart is to show motion and love. So what does that mean when we see hearts? Typically that means we show motion and love towards another. And then they have down make a heart with your hands. And that's a great idea to get kids involved in learning interactively. So you want to show them what a heart with your hands looks like, and have them follow along. Avoid using lots of words on your PowerPoint. Kids cannot read, so typically these are up just because it's good for a teacher to have as a reference. But you can see that they have, colors in this PowerPoint. They have pictures, which is good for preschoolers to be drawn to. Then you can see the next slide, they go over what a real heart is. So they talked in the previous slide about what heart shapes look like and what they are. And then they go over what real hearts are. You have a heart too. Can you feel it? So then maybe you have all the kids try to feel their heart and show them where that is. Your heart looks a little bit different than the shape. So this heart is going to be a lot different than the heart we just saw on the previous slide. So it's important to talk to kids about the difference between the two. And they did a good job with visually putting these on the slides to show the difference. Next, they had a slide on heart facts. So again, I told the students to make sure that they're not putting lots of words on their PowerPoints or long sentences. Therefore, they have put pictures, and then they knew what they were going to be talking about. So some facts about hearts is that jellyfish don't have any hearts, or doesn't have a heart, and worms don't have hearts either. And that typically will get a little discussion going with the preschoolers. All right. It's always good to do an activity with them after you have taught them a learning lesson. So one thing you can do with this is give them each a whiteboard and a marker. And then while you were at the main whiteboard at your board, you can start drawing a heart and show the kids how to do it and what it looks like. And they can follow along by using the whiteboards. A lot of them will probably need help considering they don't all have the motor function to draw a heart, but it's still good practice. You can even try dotting the hearts in a heart shape and have them trace it on the whiteboard. And then I always like to end the PowerPoint with a question or a recap. So things that they learned in the PowerPoint, or for example, this slide says, what do you love? So you can have the preschoolers raise a quiet hand and tell me something you love. Give examples. You could say, well, I love my dog. I love pizza. I love school. And that starts to get them to think about things that they love too. And sometimes they will ramble, but that's okay. So this is just a little example of what your PowerPoint can look like when you are teaching circle time. They're all going to be different. You can put in a video clip in your PowerPoint slides as well. You can make them a little bit longer, but for my time's sake today, I have made mine short and hope that is okay. So that is kind of the overall gist on how to create a PowerPoint and some things to include. We're going to go over more of these later on. If you have any questions, let me know and I can help you set one up. I hope this was helpful. Thanks.